And he's like, I'm not here to make myself into something. I'm just telling y'all how I feel. And this is how, you know, he's like, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. He's like, I'm just an American who's tired of all these bullcrap people ruining regular people's lives.
Right.
You know?
That's what's up.
I'm like, ooh, boy, you're like Paul Revere type.
I
You know
know.
what I'm saying? Like the British are coming type stuff. Like you're about to go
Oh,
down in
man.
history as somebody that might start a revolution.
Howdy, y'all.
Hi, guys.
It's Ryan.
And Angela.
And we're back
That's right.
for another episode of Ask RNA, where Angela answers all your questions.
You know me.
And I just do the beard thing, right? So excited. Let's go.
Okay.
Welcome back. If you're new here, you're probably not. But if you are, we have a little guitar shop and a lesson studio in a small town in East Texas.
Yep.
And we shoot YouTube videos
That's what we do.
occasionally, sometimes once a week, sometimes not. But today's video is us answering questions from people like you all over the world about various things. Music, movies, Texas, cuisine.
All kinds of stuff.
Lord, who is it?
Didn't mean to do that. Meant to silence my phone. There you go.
Silencia!
Silencia.
Alright, so we're gonna get right to it. I forgot to wear an RNA Music shirt, dang it.
Oh, goodness.
But you have a very sweet RNA Music
or you can,
hoodie.
You can go.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Hey, amazing. So I brought one.
You did.
I just, you know, whatever.
But now you have it.
If you would like an RNA Music t-shirt or some swaggy swag, we got a link down in the description of this video. You can go down and get you a t-shirt. And that's one way you can support a small mom and pop business in a rural town. Living the dream,
You
right?
know
If
what?
you like what we do, get you some swaggy swag if you want. Let's get to the question.
Let's do this.
First question, Just Fun Guitar. He's in England. Like I said, people all over the world. He says, hashtag you people, hashtag Opa. Great episode, thanks for the answers. So now question, have you seen the Thayil guitar? I just got it today and it's awesome.
Ooh,
Oh, there it is right there
nice.
on the computer.
Oh, nice.
I think I have seen that. I think I saw on your Instagram, Just Fun Guitar. I think I saw that you got that. I had to pull up and look at it. I'm like, I'm sure it's an SG because Kim is well known for playing SGs, and that's a guild. A guild. Well, he played guilds back in the day, so that's pretty cool. I'm not necessarily an SG guy. Like, I do not own, of the multiple guitars I have, I don't think I have an SG. We had a DBZ Diamond SG for a while that I would play in the store sometimes because it was super light.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I can appreciate about the SG guitars is usually they're on a little bit lighter side.
Right.
If you got like shoulder things or thoracic spine things or
Yes.
lower back things, you know, a lighter guitar definitely has its
Straighten up
place.
just
So
a little bit while you talk about your back.
I know, like my back is like, oh, I should stop. I got the guitar player shoulder where it's like this. Quasimodo.
Yeah.
Hey.
What hump?
Hey. Right? Sit up straight.
Yes.
Sit up straight. Yeah. I did see, I think, a picture of you playing it, but I had to look it up to get a closer view. I'm like, yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks like they're pretty affordable, about $900 for one. So that's, you know, anytime it's under $1,000 for a guitar, that's a pretty sweet price point.
Yeah.
So, congrats, Just Fun Guitar. Very nice. All right, next question. Shane Walton, 8888. That's Fat Philosopher.
Yes.
Formerly known, AKA Shane Walton. Hashtag you people, hashtag Opa. What is one electric guitar brand you would like to have in your store that you don't have already?
Ooh.
Very nice question. We had that question before in the last
Yeah.
14 years of doing this. Almost 14 years. This January will be 14 years,
I know.
babe.
I know. It's crazy.
Actually more than that, because 14 years ago we were in this building things.
Yeah.
Crazy. I think the answer changes from time to time. I feel like, do you remember what I said last time?
No. I don't.
I feel like I've said PRS
Yeah.
because I own
That makes sense.
4 PRS guitars personally. And I like them quite a bit, and I think that their SE models, which are the more budget-friendly ones, are great guitars for the money. I can't remember. I don't think Shane is a PRS guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he is, but I can't remember. Shane's an Ibanez guy.
Okay.
He's an Ibanez and Dean guy.
Mm-hmm.
For me, and I've talked to PRS before at NAMM, and they were like, yeah, you could sign up and be a dealer and kind of carry more of the SE line and the S2 lines. Because again, we're not a mega huge place, right? I might have trouble selling the core models, $5,000 guitars. But
yeah, no, not around here.
Yeah, not in our market. But I am a big fan of the SE guitars, and I have an S2, which is their kind of slightly more affordable American-made, but with import hardware guitar, and it's great. But I play my SEs more than I play the S2.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So I feel like PRS would be a very strong contender. I've always said ESP because I freaking love Metallica, obviously.
Right.
And you know, the LTD line is really good for more budget-friendly guitars. And again, just mega huge Metallica fan, which you may or may not know. Shockingly, I do not own a James Hetfield signature guitar. Like, I feel like something like, how big of a fan are you if you don't actually own one of those? So ESP LTD would be great. Although, since we're Schecter dealers and they're kind of, you know, sister companies,
right?
You know, they're owned by the same guy. The ownership of both companies, they're ran by two different teams. Like, there's different CEOs. The CEO of Schecter is not the CEO of ESP.
Right.
That's something like, it's the same company. It's like, well, it's not, because like the Pizza Hut here in town and the Sonic here in town is owned by the same guy.
Yeah.
Are they the same restaurant? No, but they're owned by the same guy. Anyways, I think the Schecter stuff kind of covers the metal crowd, which is not huge in East Texas. The metal crowd is not as big as you would maybe think, but Schecter also has a lot of not metal guitars. But,
right.
I think that was the answer last time was...
I think so, it sounds right.
PRS and ESP, because those are brands I personally really like and can get behind, and the quality's good. Yeah, that I'm not super like, oh, we're gonna carry Gibson one day, or if we could carry Fender, that'd be awesome, because that's just like not gonna happen probably, short of us winning the lottery.
Right.
We literally could become dealers for PRS or ESP LTD. Like, that's something that's kind of achievable. You know, should we choose to write? I mean, there's still big checks to write when you become a dealer for companies, but yeah. So PRS and ESP, 3 letters: RNA, PRS, ESP, CMG, EMG. It's, you know,
this is how we roll.
3 is a magic number.
Apparently.
It's a holy number.
It's true.
The trinity of numbers. All right, thank you, Shane. Appreciate the question, man. Next question. Divided by Time Studios. Did you see Blackstar is about to release the HT Mark III? Leaked online. The Mark IIs always looked cheap to me. The Mark III looks better cosmetically. I'm curious to hear them. Blackstar is notorious for leaking new products. Well, leaking. Well, you know, we do not sell Blackstar here at the store. Our amp lines are Devil Cat amps and Orange amps. Those are the 2 amp lines we carry. Shockingly, I don't own an Orange amp. Well, Nicholas has one though.
Yeah.
Our son has an Orange amp. I do have 2 Devil Cats.
Right.
But we have 2 Blackstars here. Like, I have an HT5. This is like an older HT5. I use it here in the lesson room. A lot of times the kids will play through that. And I like it because it's got reverb, it's got clean, it's got distortion. I don't have to hook up a pedal board for the students. It's just, it does what it needs to do.
Right.
So, and then in Angela's room, she has, I think it's an HT40 combo. And again, most of your students are acoustic students, though.
Yes, I only have 1 electric.
You got 1 kiddo who plays electric.
Yeah.
And so, you know, she has a Blackstar in her room, which we typically use those for the kids to play. Or if something happens, like if the, you know, I don't usually let the EVH bothers me because the on and off switches are in the back. So to actually turn on the frickin' EVH, it's like, oh, I gotta get back here and, where's it? There it is. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah. I mean, it's a minor thing, but is it really minor? It's not actually, because, come on, stand by. Because usually I'm sitting in my chair and I just turn and they flip the switches on.
Yeah.
To turn on the amps.
Yeah. It's not fun to
it's
have
not practical.
Reach behind when you're in the middle of students and doing stuff.
I mean, I realize Eddie Van Halen had people who
Yeah.
turned switches for him. That makes
Yeah.
sense. But us normal people,
Us commoners.
us, not guitar royalty,
Right.
we have to flip our own switches, right? So I get people, there's a lot of hate for Blackstar. People are like, oh, it's just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never thought it was bad. And then the ones we have, I'm like, these are fine.
Yeah, they work great for our kids and
Yeah.
what we do.
It's like, are they amazing? No. Are they horrible? No. They're just kind of like, yeah, they're all right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't suck. It's not the best amp I've ever heard. It's not the worst amp I've ever heard. They get the job done. Now, while I was in Denver, at Flipside Music, home of the Flipside Flippity Flop Blues, whatever, there was an amp there. It was the... Crap, I forgot the name of it. Anyways, they had, what was it? The St. James. That's what it was. I think that's like a reference to Jim Marshall, who was, a lot of Blackstar started from former Marshall employees, left and started their own
So it's like
thing.
a nod to...
It's kind of like an homage to
Very cool.
Jim Marshall, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The father of loud, they call him. His nickname,
Okay.
So I played that when I was in Denver, and I was like, holy crap, this thing sounds friggin' awesome. I didn't film that, unfortunately, because I was just goofing off at the end of the day. I was like, let me play on that. And I was playing one of the guys' guitars. He let me play his PRS, and I was like, this amp sounds friggin' amazing. It was a little pricey. It's like $800 or $900 for the head, just the head. I guess that's not pricey, really, but it sounded stinking awesome. And I was like, holy smokes. Like, that actually was like, I was impressed. Where it's like, it's okay. This is okay. The St. James was ridiculous, I thought.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's my thought on Blackstars. Thank you. Divided by time. Concise. Comment of the day time.
Comment of the day. Comment of the day.
Should I use the info?
You make the comment, we read the comment for comment of the day.
I got one.
Oh, that's
You
mine.
got one.
It is mine.
You
That's
got
mine.
one. That's
Make
yours.
sure you remember it's mine.
Oh, let's tune first. Dang it.
Pretty.
I don't know if this will be your key or not. That's the question.
Yeah, I'll make it my key.
I will make it legal. All right, comment of the
I'll be
day.
fine.
This is where we write a song on the spot, literally, with no preparation.
Wish me luck.
I'm going to play some chordy chords, and Angela's going to sing some vocal melodies that she's going to make.
Fit words into those chords.
She never sees these until we sit down and do it. So this is literally no prep time at all. So I pick a comment from last week's Ask RNA, and I'm like, that'd make a good, really short 30-second song. So here we go. Ooh, let's see if I can, what am I going to talk about? And last week I overdrove the mic with the guitar. So let me,
Just drum a little bit softer.
I'm gonna go softer. You might want to hear the chords going too.
Yeah, just keep it simple. Don't do like a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
There you go. At Barmail 3136. Open sausage from Fredericksburg, Texas. Good stuff. Hashtag open.
I'm gonna add.
That's a comment of the day. Comment of the day. There you go. Very folky.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, I lied a little bit. I didn't make that up on the spot, but I did make that up a couple of days ago.
Okay.
I had a nice little thing with KYSER Capos earlier this week, where they asked me to come down to KYSER HQ and shoot some videos with them about the capos.
Yeah.
And I decided, like, well, I'm just gonna write something that kind of, you need a capo to play it in that specific key with that specific chord voicing. So that I actually did make that up just a couple of days ago.
Right.
But I was like,
But I hadn't heard it.
you hadn't heard it.
So I had nowhere.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could tell I had no idea where he was going to go with that last part. So
Right. And well, and then like finding melodies on the spot. That's actually like hard for a lot of people to do. So I'm always like, you're amazing. Like,
I mean, it's only so many places you can go. I mean, you can sing stuff.
There's only so many good notes
Right.
that fit over certain chords.
So you kind of just.
Do you think in like chord tones, or like, you know, so over a C chord, it's a root third fifth.
Right.
Do, mi, so. And then like over an F chord, it's F, A, C. I know you're probably not thinking like, okay, I'm going to sing an A here, then I'm going to go to G.
Never do.
But do you hear like the intervals?
Yes.
Like the distance, like, okay, I'm going to go up a second, or I'm going to go up a fourth. Or...
Right. I don't think that, but I do think that. Does that make sense? I don't think, oh, let me go to the fourth. Oh, let me go to the,
You
I don't
hear the
think
note that would fit over that chord.
Yes, but it's almost like my brain just goes into automatic.
I'm
I don't
Captain
think it-
Overthinker.
Yes.
Over here.
I don't think about it. It's just my brain just automatically fits into, because I've listened to so much music over my, you know, so much different music. It actually goes into the next question, but it's like I've listened to so much music over my life that let's say popular music fits the same formula almost every single time, no matter what genre.
Right.
Every single song almost has the exact same formula.
Strong melodies.
Yes. And then climbs. Like one girl, she was like, I said, what songs do you listen to? She goes, I love this new song by Brandon Lake. He's a Christian artist. And then I was like, oh, I think I've heard. She goes, have you heard it? I was like, I think so. Because I follow him on Instagram. And she was like, okay. And I was like, but it'll be fine. I'll sing along. And so she was like, but you've never heard it. And I'm like, I know. And sure enough, it was like, it's the same formula. So I was like, I knew he was going to go up. I knew he was going to go down. I knew even and it was so funny. She looked at me because in the after the bridge of the song, he does a bunch of woo-woos and stuff like that, little, you know, runs and stuff. And I hit every single one that he did, because I'm like, obviously you're going to go there.
I mean,
I would. So it just fits and makes sense that you would do that, because that's just the formula.
That's what you do. Like,
That's
really,
what you do.
I'll say really good music, or music that is very popular with a lot of people. That's not a very niche thing.
Yeah.
Has very
not fusion and
like jazz, or like
experimental jazz and stuff like that, where it's like a bunch of, you know, like
or gnarly
Ross
death
Geller
metal
on a
right.
keyboard.
But
yeah,
well, just like for most songs, chord progression wise, like, okay, what key are we in? All right, we're in G. Okay, it's going to be G, C, D, E minor. Like
right.
1, 4, 5 minor 6.
I mean, but there's only so many combinations of music you can do, because it's the same notes.
Well, same thing. Like, there's only so many ways you can combine chords in the same key that it sounds good. Right. There's multiple ways, but there's a limit.
Right.
So I'm assuming, again, with vocal melodies, really good vocal melodies,
in my brain, I think,
fall over the chord tones.
Right.
So just like your chord progression,
as soon as you hit a note, the first note of the key, you know, whatever chord you're playing, I automatically, not that I think about it, I don't think about it, but now that I think about it, I know exactly what fits in that chord progression and what won't.
Well, typically over any chord, the first thing that the vocalist is going to sing is, like, if it's over a C chord, you know, C is the 1, you know, E is the 3rd of the chord, G is the 5th of the chord.
Right.
You're probably going to start the melody on one of those 3 notes. Typically.
Yes.
Or if you start on, you know, if G is the 5th of the chord, they might start on an F, you know, on an F, but then immediately land on the G.
Right.
Like you're hunting chord tones.
Yes.
Essentially, and then you're stringing them together for the melodies.
Yeah.
But you do it. I was gonna say instinctually, but probably the amount of songs with strong vocal melodies you've sang over your entire life, just
right. Yeah. You just hear it.
It's just there. Yeah. Interesting, right? I just had a lesson with Corbin yesterday, my student Corbin, and he was writing some music, which I'm so excited. I'm like, he's like, I wrote a thing. I'm like, okay,
let's do this.
Play it for me. I'm like, okay. All right, let's think about, what about doing this? Okay, that's great. That's like an A section, and we need to develop that. What can add on to it? How can we complement
enhance
it?
this?
We need to go to we need to go to a B section. You know,
Right.
every song needs 3 parts at least.
Yes.
You know, a verse, a chorus, and a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Your intro can be a different thing, but your intro could also be the same thing as your verse or your chorus.
Right.
So we're doing that. I'm like, okay, this is great. You're gonna have words. He's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, okay, we gotta have a melody.
Right. It has to be
Whether
something
it's a vocal melody
Yes.
or it's an instrumental guitar thing.
Right.
And so we looked up some Nick Johnston, which, you know, I played. Like, how often did I play that in the truck? His entire album.
Like, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, so he was watching because he didn't know who Nick was. And I was like, oh, Nick's great, man. And watch. And he's playing because it's instrumental guitar. It's like, look at the melody he just played. He just doesn't start off ripping.
Right.
He plays a very strong melody.
Something that is catchy. It picks up in your ear.
You get stuck in your ear. It's
Yes.
the hook.
Yes.
And it's not super busy. It's actually
No.
fairly the way a singer would sing,
Yes.
unless you're, you know, Blues Traveler. Right? But it's like a normal singer. And then he repeats it. And then he goes to a complementary melody. And then he repeats that.
Right.
And then he keeps coming back to that original theme. And he's just looking at me like, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
see, it's like forming a sentence and adding your commas and your, you know, semicolons and your colons and your verbs and your adverbs and your conjunctions. It's just, you know, the formula. You know what you want to say. If you're asking a question, you don't add an exclamation point. You add a, you know, a question mark. There's
and
things
a pause
that you do. Yeah, there's, you know, there's just things that you do, and once you see it, it's just like, oh, okay,
I've seen
I can
this
do that.
before.
Yes. And then from there, unless you want to stay basic in that same flow or genre, wherever you're going, then you add to it.
Right.
You add all your flavor and your flares. That's why I tell my vocalists whenever I was like, learn the basics of it. Don't try to jump from all I know how to sing is 3-chord songs to doing runs like Christina Aguilera. There has to be, she adds that. And if you're not comfortable adding that, just stick with the basic melody. You know, but once you get to that basic melody, you understand the basic melody of it and you're strong in that, then when there's a musical break, add those runs. Just go for it. The music's there. Just because there's no words doesn't mean you can't sing.
Yep. I think I love talking about like creating music. And when I have students who are like, I want to write, I'm like,
Do it.
yes, good. Okay, great.
Go for it.
Because that's just the tip of the friggin' Godzilla.
Yes, that's the point of music, is creating something. It's just like when I crochet. Learning how to crochet and creating something that someone else has created is one thing, but then coming up with your own thing and making it possible that someone else can enjoy is a whole nother level of creativity. It's just like painting or anything else, but music especially, because that is just so much a part of, well, anything really a creative is a part of you. Painting, sculpting, anything.
Speaking.
You know, carpentry, you know, even speaking eloquently.
Having a conversation with somebody requires creativity.
Yes, for nowadays especially. Mental gymnastics. But anyways.
Yeah.
So.
It's one of my, I think, and this might just be me, I think most musicians, not vocalists necessarily, but like vocalists are musicians.
No, I know.
But like people who are writing, you know, parts, guitar players, piano players, guitar players. I think we overthink it.
Yes.
I think we think,
very much
if
so.
I don't write Stairway to Heaven, this thing that I wrote is
first
crap.
time out of the gate.
Right? Like I've got to write this big epic thing that's just the greatest thing of all time. It's like, you don't have to do that.
Right.
Even Led Zeppelin only wrote one Stairway to Heaven.
Right. Right. Well, and I was just thinking that, I was like, but also even Led Zeppelin in their time in the 60s, when they were growing up with an era of music that was unheard of. Like, they were exposed to music at a time that our generation, even those of you who were in your 60s and 50s, that we weren't necessarily, it wasn't brand new to us. So by the time we heard Led Zeppelin, you know, we had already been exposed to so much different varieties of music, where they were probably, you know, they're British. So it's like them being exposed to American, you know, blues. Right. And them going, what is this? Because all they knew was what British people had at that time.
Yeah, Jimmy was like, he was like a session musician. They played like, I think it's skiffle or wiffle ball bat. I don't know, with some kind of popular music. Pop music, like whatever is 50s American music, 50s music
like
in England.
Bubblegum pop type.
Yeah.
Bubblegum.
So he grew up playing all kinds of stuff, but
But yeah, but that little
When they discovered the blues.
that kind of exposure was like a weird pocket of history that they were exposed to, that generations after them never got that fresh, like, what is this?
Right.
Like, because music was so weird how it transitioned from the early 1900s.
There's a big
till
difference
now.
between Elvis Presley and Led Zeppelin.
Right. And so for them to be exposed to that was just like a weird moment in history that nobody else got.
Right. And even the Beatles. Like,
Yes, exactly.
Like-
So you have these people, even like, Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis and all them, they were exposed to something at a time of history that it was just like, a black person seeing a white person for the first time ever and thinking that they were a ghost. You know what I'm saying?
right. Like,
It was
I've
literally
never seen
something like that. The
the
first
Quincy
time
Ocean.
they went across the ocean. No one's going to ever experience a first time across the ocean ever again. But there was a group of people that experienced a first time across an ocean, first time getting on a boat. There, like after that, then the rest of the generations were like, oh yeah, it's a boat.
yeah.
What? They were like, but do you realize that there was a group of people that never have seen a boat before? You know what I'm saying? And that's like Led Zeppelin and that generation.
Yeah.
They were the first ones who saw this and were exposed to this, and then everybody else. So now whenever you, going back to the whole creating music, now whenever you create music, you get in your mindset that you have to be like a group of people who you will never be like them. Because you have now been exposed to everything.
Right.
You have, but also, and in effect, it's a blessing because then you can pull from all these different influences where they had a very limited amount of influences. Right. Now you can pull from all these different influences. So don't pigeonhole yourself to, overthinking it. Just allow that creativity to kind of flow through and pull from different things, because it just makes it so much more unique to you,
It's funny because I'll talking about to students about like creating music. Listen, you can write something. It's like it could be as simple as just write a chord progression.
Right.
It's probably been played somewhere before, but if you haven't heard it,
that's okay.
How you pick it and how fast it is and the rhythm or the strum patterns can be you. But we're talking about writing things and like, oh, played something that I wrote, and they're like, 90% of the time they're like,
that was
you wrote that? I'm like,
ever.
yeah. And they're like, that was awesome. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't
don't
know.
say that. Just say thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
That.
And I'll be like, thanks.
I love to play.
Well, I know, but it's just sort of like, I'm always like my own.
They'll say I know.
I'm my own worst critic, right? And then,
I know.
I mean,
I know.
Right? But I'll play and just to see like this, 16-year-old kid be like,
that was amazing.
What?
I want to be like you.
Have you recorded that? I'm like, yeah, I record. Here it is, and they'll play it with the drums. And they're like, Are you gonna do something with that? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Whenever I'm singing, like I don't hold anything back, and I actually sing, and I sing in front of my vocal students, and they're like, "Have you ever thought about going on America's Got Talent? You would win." I'm like, no.
Sing?
No. I just like singing here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never want to do that, but it is really cool.
But it's funny. I was
like
telling Corbin how do you elaborate on this idea that you have? And
right.
I was thinking like, well, here's what I was thinking when I wrote this. I just thought I like this and like this, and then you get to a point where like I'm kind of stuck, and that's where music theory comes in because like I didn't even know what I was playing.
Where it goes.
It was just going by my ear, and then I got to a point where like, okay, I needed another part, and it wasn't just coming to me. I was like, well, what am I doing already? I'm like, then I had to go back and analyze it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm in D mixolydian. I wrote a freaking modal thing. I didn't even know it.
Right.
I was just like, okay, well now I know where I am, and now I can develop another part. But trying to like describe it, like, wow, what are you? I'm like, well, it's rocking, but it's not like broody, like, oh, I'm so sad. It's more like, I think it's not Van Halen because I'm not Van Halen, but you know how like Van Halen music is very like upbeat,
Yeah,
and
it's pumped,
and not quite major sounding, but kind of like I would never compare myself to Eddie Van Halen, but like the vibe, the emotion of
I
that.
know what you're saying.
It's kind of like it's like happier Metallica. I don't know, Anyways, need to do something with that. All right, we kind of segued on that, but that was great because I actually just like, I don't think I've ever really asked you. It's like,
How did your
how do
brain
you come up with a melody like that? Like, how do you just on the spot start singing something?
I don't know.
I mean, I know how to do it on guitar. Like, if I can improvise a melody on guitar, like, it's probably the same, just with your voice. Anyways, thank you.
Just with your mouth.
Thank you, Barb Mill. I didn't know that Opus sausage was from Fredericksburg.
I didn't either. Here we
I
go.
didn't look at the label because we've been doing
Road
the
trip.
carnivore thing for 125,000 days now. All right, next question. Matt Haji. Hi, Ryan. Good show. New question. Do you and Angela listen to any new music or music out of your normal genre? Thanks for the video. Hashtag you people. Hashtag Opa. What do you mean you people? All right, that was segues. Yeah, do we listen to new music or music out of our genre?
I listen to some new music, only because students expose me to new music. Do I go out there searching for new music? No. A lot of times stuff disappoints. So, I mean,
This band's great. Listen to him.
Like there was that one band, like I was saying, I think it was about 5 or 6 months ago. Those guys from, I think they're from Germany.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that one guy has a really great, just raspy, awesome voice. And I was like, man, I love the way they sang that song. And then I go back and listen to the other stuff. And I was like, oh, well, that was about it for them, huh? And it was true. That was literally like a lightning strike thing for them. And everybody was just like, oh, we thought y'all were like really good all the time. It's just because that one guy's voice.
Right. And was it even their song or was it a cover?
It was a cover of a late 80s, early 90s song.
Your version of this amazing song was amazing.
Man, and in the
the
waiter song. Yeah.
They
did a cover of
Dr.
that.
Pepper.
Yes, and his voice whenever
I remember that.
He started singing, I was like, what? Because he's a skinny little kid. And he just belted out this grown man's voice.
Most of the time, fat people can sing really good.
Yeah.
Skinny people is.
And I also have really been enjoying, oh gosh, now his name just left me. Oliver Anthony. That's his name.
Oh yeah.
Oliver Anthony, who did the Richmond
north of Richmond. I still haven't even listened to that song.
Oh my gosh. The first time I heard that, and I caught it early. Like he only maybe had 1,000 views on that. Like I caught it really early.
You're a pioneer, babe.
Because I'm always on TikTok. So I heard it straight out the gate and I was like, what did he do? Like yeah.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah, he tapped into something, and his voice is so like old raw country.
Did you see Jordan Peterson interviewed him?
Yes.
I started watching the Jordan Peterson interview.
Like he's everywhere.
And I haven't even listened to the song.
Oh my gosh, but he has another song called "I Want to Go Home." I listened to that. I was like, oh, I thought he was just doing Richmond, north of Richmond song, but it wasn't. And I sat there and I cried. I literally, actually, physically cried. I was like, because it was like, yeah, dude, yeah, that's exactly how we all feel. We feel that way. And if you don't, you're dead inside. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're a shell of a person. And because he was so real and so raw and just, you can tell like he was wanting to like almost tear up a little bit. But
authentic. It
was really cool. And then I caught one of his concerts in his part of his country, like, you know, like a First Monday type thing that he goes out and does on the back of a trailer underneath a...
It's like playing at Moore's store.
Yeah, or like even like at our city park, it has the awnings, you know, and he was just standing on a trailer. And he said, it's so crazy being out here today. And he always reads from the Bible before he starts. And he said, it's so crazy out here right now after this song went viral. Last time I played here, there was only 20 of you. And you look out and there's probably like 2,000 people standing out there. Like they drove from all over the state to listen to him.
I bet they did.
And then he, like right now he's in this moment where, not to take up all the time about Oliver Anthony, but he's the new hot thing right now.
Maybe we'll get some views.
And he went through this whole deal like people were like, he
I heard about the record deal.
He denied. Well, he
was offered a record deal for like $8 million.
Yeah,
he's like, nah.
And he let it down. He was like, because I won't be able to say and do what I want to say and do. I have to be conformed to what they want me to do and go where they want me to go. And he also was telling somebody, because somebody was asking him about going to venues like big arenas, like because he could feel them.
Right.
Like right now, he can literally feel like AT&T Stadium, like feel it.
Wow.
And because I would go. Like legitimately, if he came to Dallas, I'd be like, we're going, this is one concert, you and I, we're both going, we're going to listen to this because this is history. Like it's history in the making.
So I should go listen to his songs.
Yes, you really should.
Like
all of you should, even if you're not country people, just the wording of the song alone. Okay, so and they were like, you know, when are you going to start going to these places? He's like, I'm not going to. He's like, because there wouldn't be a way for the tickets to only be $40 or less.
Right.
He was like, and if you are going to charge these people more than just $40 that regular people can purchase, I'm not doing it.
Dang.
He's like, because I'm not going to have somebody, you know, pay thousands of dollars to come hear me.
To get front row seats at the Dallas Cowboys stadium. Right. I paid $3,000 to see this guy on the front row.
Right. And to meet him and shake his hand, take pictures with him. And he's like, I'm not doing it. Like he's
I have a lot of respect for him.
I really, truly do.
I gotta go listen to his songs now.
Yeah.
I watched his Jordan Peters like 30 minutes.
I need to get him on. I think he's on Spotify, but it's like him doing it. Like he's just recording it out of just a microphone that he bought on Amazon, that he sets up in his yard or in the back of his truck.
Like a podcast or something?
Yeah, but it's just, you know, he just has it amped up from his porch. And that's all he's doing, singing outside with his stuff. But his voice is so raw, and it's not like, oh my gosh, it's such a good voice. You know, I think a good voice is like people who can sing very taut.
Right. Josh Groban.
Yes.
You know, Michael Bublé.
Exactly.
Like,
you know, you went to school, you were in choir, you were taught. Now this guy was like, I have something to say. And I need.
It's very Johnny Cash.
Yes, it has very reminiscent to old first generation country.
Yeah, he's super into that. And apparently so is Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I could see that.
He has like a massive collection of that older country stuff, and
because it's good, because it's sad.
Well, it's real.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's really good, and he's just so real, and he's so down to earth, and he's like, I'm not here to make myself into something. I'm just telling y'all how I feel, and this is how, you know, he's like, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. He was like, I'm just an American who's tired of all these bullcrap people ruining regular people's lives.
Right.
You know,
that's what's up.
I'm like, ooh boy, you're like Paul Revere type. You
know
know what I'm saying? Like the British are coming type stuff. Like you're about to go down in history as somebody that might start a revolution. Like,
I gotta listen to him now, because I'm like, I feel that way. Like we don't talk politics, you know, on the channel and stuff. But I got friends who ask, you know, in private, you talk politics with people, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't think it's Republican. Like I guess in my advanced age now, I'm like, it's not Republicans versus Democrats anymore. I don't really believe.
It truly has never.
I believe
been that.
No, it's them and us.
Yes, 100%.
The two parties are the people in power and everyday people.
Yes, and the
That's
people working.
My political beliefs are.
Yes.
It doesn't Republican, Democrat. No, it doesn't matter. It's the people in power who stay in power for like 50 years. Like, why are you 87 years old and you're still in Congress? Like, you should. That shouldn't be a thing, right? Anyways. I sent Paul a meme yesterday. It's like, I'm not going to talk politics at this party. And 2 drinks later, he was like, where was Gondor when the Westfold fell? It was Lord of the Rings politics.
But
I was like,
perfect.
That's pretty good.
But Jordan Peterson even said, we are where we are now as a country because of that ignorant comment of, you know, don't talk about religion, politics, or this, just stick to the weather. He's like, that's why we're at where we are now.
We're not talking about
because we're not talking about it, and there's not civil discourse between the two, so you can actually figure out, well, why do you believe that? Why are you voting that way? Why? Well, why can't we have to talk about it? The reason why we are where we're at because no one is talking. They silenced us
And they-
over the dinner table
And
at the dinner table
that's what the people in Washington want.
because they wanted to be the only voice talking.
Right. The Republicans and the Democrats.
Brum, brum, brum.
Oh man. Okay. Well,
Yes.
that got real heavy.
It did, but it was good, and I
Yeah.
liked it. Okay.
The question was, do we listen to any music out of your normal genre? I was gonna say, I usually don't, unless I come across, something like on YouTube or I don't TikTok as much as Angela TikToks, but students, right? Because that's where a lot of new music comes from. Obviously, like, hey, can we listen to this song? I'm like, sure. What's the name of it? Let's look it up. And I'm like, oh wow, like I'd never heard of the Crane Wives.
Right.
I mean, you had some students doing it. That had one. Can I play? I'm like, yeah, let me look it up. I'm like, wow. Oh, they've been around a while, like 10 years or 12 years, something.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard of them. I'm like, they're pretty good. I like that. Very folky.
Yeah.
But I was like, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's nice. And then it's usually that. Students will ask about something. I'll learn about a new
Like, have
band
you
or a
heard
new
this?
song. I'm like, let me look at it.
No.
Although,
bad.
I came across one the other day. There was a guy, Taylor's T-Swizzle's bass player. Apparently he's a real bass player. Like somehow I came across his channel where he's playing like Blackened by Metallica, like with the bass so you can actually hear it. And I watched that and I was like, that was awesome. Wonder what else he's got. And he has another one. It was a band, it's called It's Cool by 4 Years Strong, which is kind of like a pop punk band apparently. I vaguely have heard their name, never listened to their music ever. Watched him do his bass cover it, which is insane. I was like, holy shnikes, that was like, wow. And then I was like, I like that song. So then I bought that song by that band, and I was like,
That's
I
good.
literally listened to it on repeat while I was on my 40-minute walk the other day. I was like, I like this a lot. This is amazing. And that record came out like 6 years ago, maybe. It's not a new record.
I know the world is so big.
Well, then,
There's so much
I
doing
was
other
like,
things.
that was the most amazing thing I've heard musically in a long time. Like, it just, something about it resonated with me. I was like, well, let me go listen so you could stream the whole album on YouTube. I was like, huh. None of those other songs are like that one.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That seems like the common
well,
thing.
crap. I thought they were going to all be like
It was like, you got a new fan.
Like that.
Nope.
And I was like,
of that song.
they're okay. I mean, the other songs are like, they're okay. But it was
Yeah.
like,
But a lot of the people that we listened to growing up had that one song and that was it.
yeah. That
We
is
never
the
really
thing.
wanted the rest of the album. Janet Jackson did that a couple of times.
Yeah. That's
She had
true.
like one song each album that everybody was like, I love that song, If. I love that song. Nasty. I love that song.
She had like
It was
2
like-
killer songs
And then the rest of the song
and
was like,
8 fillers.
that's all right. That's okay. But I really love this one.
Yeah.
Even Janet Jackson had that.
Yeah.
Prince did too.
I remember, like, I've talked about this with my heavy metal and rock friends. I'm like, you remember, like, mine freaking Vulgar Display of Power by Pantera? And, like, listening to the whole thing? I'm like, yeah, it's got the singles that are the bangers. But, like, I would put on that tape. Put it in that tape and play it and then flip it and, like, listen to the album straight through and be like, yeah. I can do that like Master of Puppets. You can put on Master of Puppets and just start the first song and just, I mean, obviously Master of Puppets is a amazing song, but like that whole freaking album's like, oh man, it's awesome. You just let the whole thing play. You let the record go until it gets to the end.
Michael Jackson was that way for me.
Yeah, like most of his stuff was like
every album, I can sing word for word every song from every album.
There wasn't any filler songs on Michael's.
Every single one was a hit.
They're all hits. We only
Every
write
single
hits.
one. That's all we do.
I guess it's, we just write hits. Why would you not write hits?
Yeah, it wasn't until like the 90s that some of the songs were like maybe 1 or 2, and then it was like in like mid 90s. I was like, oh yeah, he had that one song.
Right.
But yeah.
Interesting. I'll put a link to the Home Dudes down in the description of this video. I'll put a link to his bass playthrough of that song, and I was like, I like this a lot. I feel this in my bones. I like it. But otherwise,
and the Oliver Anthony song.
Yeah,
so if you're
yeah.
not TikTok, more than likely you've missed him.
Probably everybody's already
Unless
seen
you
it,
do
though.
follow Joe Rogan and Jordan
Yeah, he's on Joe
Peterson.
Rogan.
So both of them have interviewed him. So
Which is crazy. That's a big deal. Like, oh, you're a big time.
yeah, you made it if you're on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Which is crazy because there's a lot of musicians around the country who are like kind of, I'm not saying they're doing what he's doing, but they're writing songs and they're out there playing it and writing from their heart, and like his just popped.
Yeah. Well, because he cusses,
Does he?
Yeah, there's language in his song, in that song.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I can't listen to it.
yeah. We need
You're
to.
like, but you're listening to Pantera?
We need to do Ryan Reacts.
Oh, that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, what if I say I don't like it?
You won't.
Then all of the what are his Swifties called?
Yeah.
Gonna come for me.
He wouldn't like that. He'd be mad if they did.
There's a guitar channel I watch, Michael Palmisano. He does reaction videos. That's his whole thing. He reacts. Guitar teacher reacts to blah, and he watches live videos of bands, and he's got his guitar, and he's like, oh, they're so good, and he'll like try to figure it out. I'm like, I like him a lot. He's a really great guy. But I saw that he did a reaction to it when it first came out. I'm like, huh. And I didn't watch it. But I was like, I don't know about that one. I'm always waiting for him. Like, he reacts to
like
okay.
I sing it like throughout the day. Like in my head, I sing that song. I like comment throughout the day.
I've got to hear it now. Okay, thank you for the question, Matt. Final question. So much for concise. See, we missed a week or two, and now we're like, oh,
we're just chatty Cathy's.
Yeah. Mr. Wilson with the P-Bass. Question, Ryan, you have said you came up a drummer, then switched to guitar. I started on guitar and switched to bass. Who were your drummer influences that inspired you when you were coming up as a drummer? Being a bassist, I do watch a lot of drum content for tips and understanding on how to play better with drummers. Oh,
that's good.
Good question. I had this conversation this week with students because like I do teach drums, I teach guitar, I teach piano, like I teach multiple instruments. And some, obviously my students obviously know. They're like, oh, because I'll just finish a guitar lesson, then a drum student will come in and we'll do some drum stuff. And they're like, and of course I have guitars all over the wall and drum sets and stuff. So they'll be like, I've had them ask me, which one do you like more? And I'm like, I don't want to tell this drum student that I like guitar more than drums.
Right.
But I do. I'm like, well, here's the thing. It's different. So I started on drums in like 6th grade, like public school band, 6th grade. So I learned, rudiments, rolls, all the reading notation, like all the like traditional classical percussion training, right? Then about 8th grade-ish is when I got a guitar.
Right.
So I always say like I had about 3 years of percussion. Like literally reading rhythms and, like real, not listen. I got a drum set and I learned how to play. It was like, no, like for real, learned how to play drums. And then I got a drum set too. I didn't get a drum set till I was like about 8th grade. So about 8th grade is when I got an actual drum set and I got a guitar. And from that point forward, it was always a tug of war between the two. It was not like, I stopped playing drums, I just played guitar. It was always back and forth. Like I'd play my drums for like a week and I'm like, oh, I haven't played guitar. Then I played my guitar for a week and I'm like, oh, I haven't played my Sega Genesis. And I played my Sega Genesis for a week. And they're like, oh, I gotta play drums. So I was always...
You still do that.
I still do that. But now it's a PS5. We're fancy. It's Nicholas's PS5.
Exactly.
I don't have a PS5. So it's always been a tug of war between the two. And I was telling one of my guitar students, I'm like, listen, I got love drums. I don't practice drums very much now because I don't really have to. Because as a percussion major in college, I played the crap out of some drums for years. And so like my baseline drumming skill, like even reading rudimental stuff or drum system, is pretty good. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's still a pretty high baseline I can play. I do practice guitar though, and I feel like guitar is harder than drums. It's more challenging than drums. And it's different though. Drums are very therapeutic. Like if I'm having a bad day, I'll play PS5 and blow up some robots. No, but if I'm having like sitting down and just playing drums and like the act of like physically striking stuff and it being okay, it just feels good. Yeah. When you're mad or frustrated or pissed off or whatever, like I don't ever really get mad or pissed off. But if I'm like, that doesn't happen a lot actually. I'm pretty happy most of the time. But it feels really therapeutic. Drums are very therapeutic to play. But you can't write a song on drums. Right. I mean, you can write a drum beat to a song.
You can write a
you can compose
cool drum beat.
You can compose a drum solo.
Right.
That's a piece of music that will impress other drummers.
Yeah.
But your girlfriend or your wife, I'm like, hey babe, check out this drum beat. I wrote it for you. I was thinking of you when I wrote this drum beat. You're like, oh,
you couldn't buy me flowers.
That's really nice. But I'm like, hey, I wrote a song.
Yeah.
With your name in it, and I'm singing a song to you. It's like.
But even whenever you were in the 6th grade, were you listening to other drummers, or were you just thinking of, I got to pass?
It was probably probably about 8th grade is when I figured out what kind of music I liked, and I started listening to drum. And it was like, probably first was Guns N' Roses, like Appetite for Destruction, because Steven Adler was the first drummer. Like wasn't super complicated drumming parts, but was very, you know, kind of iconic. Like I have students today who are like, hey, can we play Paradise City? I'm like, yes. You know, and supposedly Duff McKagan, somebody, man, he might not have even played drums on the record, but whatever. But he played with them live. Anyway, so he was one in the early days.
Right.
And then it quickly became like Pantera, you know, so Vinnie Paul was a huge one. And I love Vinnie Paul because like he was also, like he was in the school band in his high school. And he was in the jazz band in his high school.
Right.
Like him and Rex played in jazz band together. Like but they would get in trouble for playing Rush Rush tunes.
Of course they did.
I was like, that sounds like me and Paul. I played drums in jazz band.
All musicians are nerds.
And the Bitter Bass Man was on the bass and I was on the drums in our high school jazz band and we'd be playing like stuff like, stop, we're playing jazz. I'm like, okay.
They still do that.
But I loved the fact that Vinny knew all his rudiments. He knew like patafla-flaws and radamakus and, you know, inverted flam taps and like all this legit real drumming stuff.
It literally sounded like something from Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, but he would do them with his feet. Like stuff you do on marching snare drum, he would do it with his feet on double bass. Like, so he knew his stuff. So like I like, he was a big one in the early days. John Bonham, of course. Freaking Led Zepplin is like, you know, he's like the king of the universe. Yeah. Like for just like slamming rock stuff. I liked Neil Peart, but I never really said like, I'm going to learn Tom Sawyer. Like I enjoyed listening to Rush. Like, holy crap. That's amazing. How did he do that? But I was like, I'm not going to try to learn
I'm
that.
really impressed of myself that I actually know who he's talking about this whole time. That like I'm not lost in the conversation. I know exactly who you're talking. I'm proud of myself.
So I love Neil. I love Neil, but I never like tried to emulate him or copy him or whatever. So it was like a lot of rock drummers and metal drummers and let's see. I was just thinking of another one. Well, obviously, like Carter Beauford, but that was a little bit later on.
Yeah,
like we were married.
College.
Like I was in, you know, I was in college when I got into Carter Beauford. Like I'm like, I freaking love this guy. He's amazing. Because again, I played in jazz band in high school and college, drums, and so I had to play a lot of Latin stuff and funk stuff and like fusion stuff and like, you know, reading charts. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that stuff too. Yeah. Like I wasn't just a rock guy. You know,
the amount of time we spent listening to Carter Beauford. Yeah. Because we didn't have television other than the channels we could pick up with an antenna.
In the olden days. We had a VCR though.
We had a VCR. We watched the heck out of some VCR movies, but Carter Beauford was...
on repeat.
Went to sleep listening to him.
Because he's very like cerebral. Like, you know, as a classically trained musician, like I would watch Carter and be like, he's very like jazz stuff and like fusion stuff and R&B stuff and like just
the way he would pick up the notes and like move them. It was really cool listening to.
Like this, you know, rhythmic displacement stuff he would do. It's like, oh, you don't normally put that on that count. And you know, David Garibaldi from Tower of Power. Like, I'm not the biggest Tower of Power. Like, I have all the records or anything, but like, I always loved the drum parts and like funk stuff and. Bill Ward, of course, you know what that's from. Black Sabbath. Okay. Bill Ward. So Bill Ward and
I've heard his name, but I didn't know. I didn't make this association.
Yeah, Bill Ward and John Bonham, because they were kind of coming up together, right? They were kind of like they were both like the powerhouse classic rock drummer guys. So it was mostly rock dudes, but I played a lot of jazz, like Latin and fusion-y kind of stuff, like in school. So. But those were the ones. Like I have a stack of modern drummer magazines somewhere, and like I've got the one with Vinny on the cover, which is great. But I mean, there's so many guys. Like Dennis Chambers is like, he's like just, you know, amazing. He's like the older, more experienced Carter Beauford. He's played on a bazillion records. And Dave Weckl and like all these are just like, you know.
The list goes on.
Yeah, we go on for forever. So, but really, in the early days, it was rock guys. Yeah, Steve Adler, Matt Sorum, Vinnie Paul. Not really Lars. I was never like, oh, Lars is my favorite drummer. Like, I mean, I love Metallica, but I wasn't like, oh, Lars is the best. You know, and Justice for All was great, but you know, but he's in Metallica. You can't take that away from him. That's pretty good. Yep. Anyways, there's a bazillion that could probably go on for forever, but that's very smart as a bass player. So like I play bass too. I wouldn't call myself like
a bassist,
a pro bassist, like not you know, like Paul only plays bass.
Right.
So he's pretty good at bass. That's all he does.
Right.
Now, I have been called upon to play bass, like at church or wherever. And what's kind of funny is being a drummer first, like especially when I play with my friend Charlie. I'm like watching him and I'm like, it was super easy for me to lock in with whatever the drummer was doing.
Right.
Because I'm a drummer.
Right.
Like I knew what he was going to do. Like I just
like singing.
Like sing. I knew what he was about to do, and as soon as he started to fill, I was like, so I would play bass parts, more simplistic parts, but it would like, I would lock in with this kick and do all that stuff. So that's a very smart thing to do because you're supposed to be a team.
Right.
The drummer and the bass player are supposed to be, you know.
Connected.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, all right, thank you, Mr. Wilson, with a P bass. Appreciate that, man. All right, that's the video. Final question. Thank God. It's gonna be a lot of editing for me. Good Lord, but we had a good time.
It was pretty solid, straight line. No, it's not too bad.
Well, I got to put in the.
Oh yeah.
I got to watch for those, and then I have to like put it in there and.
That's not bad.
All right. So, if you guys have a question or girls have a question for next week, please type it down in the comment section of this video.
Yeah.
And we may answer that. We might even take one of your comments and make it into a little song next week. Now, if you've made it this far in this entire video, you're a legendary level person. I mean, you're like, you guys are legit. If you're still here right now, you're amazing. We have a little game we like to play called Secret Hashtag of the Day.
That's right.
And Secret Hashtag of the Day is, tell me you have an idea.
I was...
Hashtag...
what'd you call, what's his name? The Marshall guy? Not Marshall.
St. James.
St. James. But you called him something.
Father of Loud.
Yeah, Father of Loud.
Hashtag Father of Loud. No one know you made it to the end. I love the fact that you remembered that. Because I was like, Richmond?
No.
Politics?
No, I was
Congress
thinking
people
that because I even thought that.
Government
or,
sucks.
the very first question when you're talking about the guitar humpback, and I was like, what hump? Because, you know, from Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
I was either what hump or Father of Loud.
Hashtag Father of Loud. And we'll know that you watched this whole video, and all the other super epic, amazing people will also know in the comment section that you're amazing. So hashtag Father of Loud, and we'll know you're amazing. And you just prove that you're amazing. That's all it is, right? It's just kind of like a badge of honor, right? And that's it. And we'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Until then, keep the music alive.
Don't forget it.
The music needs you.
You need the music,
and
really.
we need to keep it alive for the next generation.
That's right.
Apparently, they need music too.
Badly.
Badly. Good music. Not crap music. Good music.
Yes. That's right. Okay, we're going to do a reaction video for you.